The present moment is clearly so important and the only thing that actually exists, really. Other things are real too, but they only exist when you put focus on them in the present moment. The past doesn't exist unless you're thinking about it. The future doesn't exist unless you're thinking about it. And when do you think? You think now. Hey fam, it's Grace, and we're talking about the present moment today, which is really loaded. The only thing that can actually impact you and create your identity, how you see yourself, and how you move through the world is the present moment. So think about how every millisecond we have choices that we make. Whether you realize it or not, we have choices that we make in every single millisecond, and it boils down to really the thoughts that you're thinking. And if you think that you don't control your thoughts, you do. Let's do an example of that right now. Yell in your mind your name. Yell your name in your mind right now. Okay, now whisper your name in your mind right now. Okay, so you can control your thoughts. It just really comes down to being in tune with your mind and your own thoughts and knowing yourself well enough to know what you're thinking. It comes down to awareness of your own thoughts. And a lot of us aren't aware of our thoughts. We just kind of go through life mindlessly, and that's how I've lived so much of my life, and that's how so many people live their life. And so once you start becoming aware of your thoughts, then that's where the magic happens, where you can reframe your thoughts. Neuroplasticity, reframing your neural pathways and how your brain actually works and how you actually think. Because how you actually think affects how you live, okay? Let's take overeating as an example. So one day you overate, okay? And you're feeling a lot of shame and guilt about it, okay? Let's first bring this up, that act of overeating, that was something in the past, and you thinking about it now in the present moment is not a bad thing. That's a very normal thing. But you bringing that instance into your present moment and just sitting in that shame and that guilt is not going to help you at all. If anything, that's just going to keep you in that frequency of shame and guilt, which is just not a vibe. No one wants to just feel shitty about themselves all the time. So if you are going to bring something from the past into your present moment, learn from it, do something about it. Because when you transmute that and then you go from, oh my God, like, I can't believe I did that, like, you're just kind of nagging at yourself. When you switch that to, okay, I did this. Why did I do that? What could I do differently next time? What triggers happened that caused me to do that? Then you can take the lessons with you. And the more that you focus on the lessons that you learned from the past, rather than the shame or the guilt or the embarrassment of something that happened. This is bigger than food, of course. This is when you went on a date and something weird happened, or when you saw some friends or some family and something happened at any sort of social gathering, any sort of instance when you're by yourself with strangers, literally anything. When you bring those feelings from the past with you, it can be very damaging if you don't do something about it. So you don't want to sit in the shame and the guilt. You want to turn it into something that you can learn from and then carry the lessons with you. Because again, the more that you carry the lessons with you, the more that you'll start to identify with those lessons rather than that shame and guilt. Because if you're constantly like, I did this, I fucked up, I'm a failure, I made this mistake, I always make mistakes, you're identifying as that. And if you're identifying as a mistake maker, then you're gonna walk about the world making more mistakes. Versus if you identify as and talk to yourself in the way that's, I learned this lesson. Thank goodness I learned this lesson. I'm aware of this now. I'm aware of these triggers that I have now. Knowing that, I can move through the world differently. I can react differently next time. I can do something about it. That awareness helps you do something about it. Now you're identifying as someone who is a problem solver and who looks into things deeply and who fixes shit up and goes about the world and is a higher level person in your own lane, your own level, okay? Not compared to other people. This is all an individual journey, okay? You're better than you were when you were sulking in the shame and the misery. So that's why bringing the past with you into the present moment is kind of detrimental, but also how bringing the past into the present moment can be very helpful too. So again, we're noticing that the present moment is where the magic happens. The present moment is where you can transmute things from the past and grow from it. The present moment is where you can make all of these little decisions to become a better version of yourself in every single moment. And it does take a lot of patience and alone time, even practicing silencing your mind and just observing your thoughts. I know meditation is a trigger word for a lot of people, but even if it's just cooking in silence or going on a walk in silence, to just kind of give yourself 5 minutes a day. Sit with yourself for 5 minutes. Do some sort of activity every day or once a week to just be able to silence your mind. And what I mean by that is just observe what comes up. Just observe what comes up in your mind and rock with it. Be like, oh, that was a really, really weird thought that I had. Like, okay, didn't love that. Let's reframe it. Why did I think that? And if you don't know, that's fine. Just replace that thought with something else. Just start to observe your mind, okay? Just start to do that. But another thing that's interesting is even bringing the positive experiences from the past into your present moment could also be kind of weird. And of course, reminiscing on fun times and hookups and stuff, like that's fun to do, okay? Like we all love that. I'm hot. But oh my God, what was I even saying? Okay, see? It knocks you off your fucking rocker. No, I'm just kidding. But actually though, so when things happen in the past and they're great and they're awesome, and you sit with those in the present moment and they're great and they're awesome, yeah, sometimes it can be very harmless and you're just reminiscing and it's fun. But also sometimes you kind of get attached to these things. Just like you can get attached to feeling shame or guilt or embarrassment, you can get attached to the highs that certain people brought you. So the next time that you're with them, you're going to expect that from them. You're going to expect them to bring you that same level of whatever, same level of happiness, of laughter, of whatever it is. You're going to expect that from them. And so that can be kind of damaging. I also think sometimes about like creepy guys. You know how a lot of girls are really, really nice, right? Just straight up really, really nice to people. Some men, I'm sure women too, but some men will hold on to that kindness that you showed them and expect it from you every single time you see them, whether this is at the gym, whether this is, literally wherever. They'll start to expect that from you, and then they might start to take advantage of it, and then things just get really weird really fast, right? You show someone an ounce of kindness and they latch onto it. Of course, that's like the extreme, and it can get dangerous with a lot of guys. Like they get obsessive with women and whatever. That's a whole thing. But I do think that stems from them bringing certain experiences from the past with them into the present moment. Honestly, I feel like murderers and stuff probably have a lot of past experiences that they've taken with them into the present moment. And that's why they do the shit that they do, because they don't have a handle on their brain. They literally don't. And I understand that too. Like I understand why that might happen. You might get jumbled up like that and make these decisions. Like, so let's all just promise to try to be present with our brains, okay? Try to be in tune with our brains so that we don't end up being murderers. That's what I'm trying to say here. No, but for real, it's just such a great tool, being in tune with your brain, being aware of your thoughts in the present moment so you can tweak them in the present moment, helps you become the best version of yourself, helps you identify with the best version of yourself so you can walk about life as the best version of yourself. Okay, so we talked about why the past doesn't actually exist, and we don't need to bring the shame and the guilt with us, but we can bring lessons with us, because, the past is real, right? But it doesn't exist right now. But the lessons exist right now. The feelings of shame and guilt exist right now, so we get to choose which one we want to feel right now. Do we want to feel the lessons, or do we want to feel the shame and the guilt and the embarrassment? You pick, I guess. Now let's talk about the future, okay? So if the negativity of shame and guilt exists with the past, anxiety and nerves exist with the future. So if you have an event or, a presentation or a date or something coming up in the future that you're really nervous about, let's just acknowledge that nerves and anxiety is so normal. And this is actually a quote that I used. I use it all the time for like work and everything. It's from Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek, and she says that anxiety is undernourished enthusiasm. So when we have something that is bringing us anxiety or nerves or whatever, it's actually an indicator that you care about that thing, that you're excited about that thing. Say, okay, I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling anxious. Why am I feeling anxious? Okay, well, clearly I care about that thing. Clearly I want this person that I'm going on a date with to like me. Okay, so fair. So what can you do to prepare yourself for that? Instead of just sitting in the anxiety and the nerves for the date, for the presentation, whatever it is, instead of just sitting in that anxiety in this present moment, use the present moment to prepare, to take action, to do something. Take action as the best version of yourself would take action in this present moment, and you're going to be so much more prepared for that. All right? There's actually a study done by Bulletproof Musician that found that 91.39% of worries don't actually happen, don't actually come true. So the majority of those nerves and that anxiety is bullshit, and it's not really for anything, but it's all very valid, right? I think it's a common human experience to have these emotions. Duh. Don't give it power over your present moment. Take the power back, bro. Take the fucking power back and do something about it. You have this anxiety? Do something about it. It's a normal thing. I used to be so debilitated by my anxiety that I would be like, oh, I can't do anything. I have to go get on medication. And okay, I know that sounds really bad for the people who are currently going through that. I once went through that. I get it. But you don't have to do that. You can choose to take control of anxiety. And it starts with taking action in the present moment and planning, okay? If you're not planning, you're planning to fail. There's a saying like that. But it's all very normal. It all makes a lot of sense. And a lot of that with anxiety too is that maybe your body's telling you that there's something in the future that you don't actually want to do. So ask yourself am I anxious about this because I'm excited about it and I want to do well? Or am I anxious about it because I actually just don't want to do it and I don't feel like I would be comfortable there? Because there's two sides of it too, right? But all that being said, medication can be very helpful. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the only way. Our minds are such a powerful place, and in the present moment is where we have the power to realign our brains and our neural pathways and tweak them in a way that works for us. We decided that you're anxious and you're nervous about something in the future because you actually want to do well at it, okay? You actually care about it. So as you're preparing then in the present moment, you're making choices in the present moment to get you to the state that you want to be at. Sure, those nerves may come up, it may fluctuate, it may whatever, but overall, the more you prepare yourself, the more you're going to be standing up tall and you're going to be like, I got this, I'm fine. Okay, so you got to focus on the present moment of what's in your control. What can you do about that situation that's coming up? What can you do? What's in your control versus what's not in your control? Focus on what you can control. And when you're focusing on what you can control, you're going to feel in control. You're going to walk into that presentation and be like, I got this. I'm ready for this. The future is a bunch of present moments as well. So let's fast forward and say it's presentation time now. Now that future moment is now the present moment. You're going to walk into that present moment that's actually in the future with such higher levels of confidence and readiness and glow. All that work that you did in the past present moments are going to show. You're going to be glowing versus if you chose to just sit in the past present moments If you chose to just sit in that anxiety and that nervousness, that's also going to show when the time comes for your presentation or whatever it is. That's also going to show. So plan to succeed, or else you're planning to fail. No, but really just take control of your anxiety and your nervousness in the present moment. So if you're nervous about something coming up, observe your thoughts around it, sit with yourself about it. Don't run from the nerves or the anxiety, face it. Say, what's up? What are you trying to show me? Are you showing me I want to be here? Are you showing me I don't want to be here? What's up? Okay, bet. I want to do it. I want to do well. What can I do now to do well? Work with your anxiety. Don't let it control you, bro. Work with it, please, for the love of God. Work with it. You're going to show up to that event, whatever it is, as such a higher level version of yourself versus the version of yourself that sat with the anxiety and let the anxiety take control, I guess. So now this is like the opposite of anxiety about the future. It's anticipation and fantasizing about things in the future that might happen. So if you're constantly like, oh my God, like this date is going to be amazing. Like I'm so excited because of this, and this, and I know he's this. I feel like all of us girls have put expectations on men, and then they just absolutely shatter it, and we're so heartbroken. And it's like, for what? Like, I didn't even allow myself to get to know him. Like, I literally created this whole vision in my head of who he was and what our future was going to be like. But the whole time, he just wanted to fuck. Like, be so for real. I feel like that's a very common experience. And it's because we are not living in the present moment. We're not taking the things that they say verbatim. We're listening to what they say, but we have our own little spin on it of, this is what I see that could happen for us in the future. So we're putting a spin on it that's just an illusion, and that is delusional, okay? Remember, this is consciously delusional. We don't want to be delusional. That's when we get hurt. That's when we set expectations that just get absolutely demolished. We want to be conscious in the present moment, but hopeful in the present moment. That's where this whole consciously delusional thing came from, is being conscious, being aware of the reality of the situation, but being optimistic about it, okay? So we don't want to be constantly fantasizing and setting high bars for people when we don't even know them yet. We don't even know what the outcome is going to be. So we can't get attached to these outcomes that haven't even happened yet, because when the outcome comes and it's not what you thought it would be, it's going to break your heart. It's going to break your heart. So at the end of the day, like low-key set your bar lower than you think you should, because the worst that could happen is something better happens. It goes better than you expected. So we don't want to attach to potential negative outcomes of the future, and we don't want to attach to possible positive outcomes. We want to stay in the present moment, do the things that are in our control, prepare in the ways that we can, and stay neutral about any outcomes, because we don't know what's going to happen, good or bad. We don't know. So we want to stay neutral, be open to whatever, be ready for whatever, but do what we can in this present moment to prepare. And sure, be optimistic, but be real about it and be like, well, I don't really know what's going to happen. It's in the future. It doesn't exist, bro. It's not here. The only thing that's here is right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. You get the point. There are so many quotes, famous quotes about the present moment for good reason. Okay? The present moment is clearly so important and the only thing that actually exists. Really. Other things are real too, but they only exist when you put focus on them in the present moment. The past doesn't exist unless you're thinking about it. The future doesn't exist unless you're thinking about it. And when do you think? You think now. So the present's really all that exists. But there are quotes about it for a reason. No better time than the present. That's one that we always hear. There's one from Kung Fu Panda where the old guy, I think he's like a turtle or something, he says, yesterday is history and tomorrow's a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. And I think that that's so sweet, and I think that it's so valid, and it's true. Take this present moment as a gift to reframe your past, to plan for your future the way that your highest self would, so you can identify with the highest version of yourself. Sit with yourself for just 5 minutes a day. Go on a 5-minute walk a day. Set a timer for 5 minutes while you cook. to just be in silence, just with your brain, and just observe your thoughts. See what comes up. See what thoughts you like. See what thoughts you don't like. See what thoughts are serving you and that you want to hold on to. See what thoughts you want to get rid of. And those thoughts you want to get rid of, reframe them in that moment. Be like, I didn't like that. I would rather think this way. And you are going to crush it. You're going to crush it. You got this. I got this. We got this. Let's ride. Okay, bye.